need you now to pray for me. Pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. I've studied this passage, and I believe that the Lord has something to say to us from this passage today. But I don't necessarily have it organized in my mind and in my heart. So you know what that's like. Yeah, so it's I'm here today to preach on assignment. Sometimes you don't feel like it, but you got to do it because that's your assignment. Psalms 91. Psalms 91. Thank you, Brother Maiden, for letting the Lord lead you in the choosing of the selections. Because you've been all in the sermon today. You sang Psalm 91. And guess what else? The only thought I can think of for this Psalms is the thought that I'm covered. I'm going to read more than I'm going to preach. I'm going to do more reading. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High, King James would say the secret place of the Most High, will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you may seek refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and a bulwark. You will not be afraid of the terror by night, or of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or of the destruction that lays waste at noon. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not approach you. You will only look on with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. For you have made the Lord my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil will befall you, nor will any plague come near your tent. For he will give his angels charge concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They will bear you up on their hands, that you do not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra, and the young lion and the serpents. You will trample down. Because he has loved me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him securely on high, because he has known my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him with a long life, and I will satisfy him and let him see my salvation. Let the church say, I'm covered. Do you know flow from Progressive? What about Jake from State Farm? Mayhem, Allstate. Even the little lizard, the gecko from Geico. We see these commercials a lot every day. Any program, you're subject to see Flo or Jake or the General. We used to just see them on Sundays during sporting events, but now we see them every day. They tried to persuade us to purchase their insurance. There is a difference between insurance and assurance. As I appreciated, insurance has to do with time limits and the replacement of lost things, and it has to do with chance, just in case you have an automobile accident, just in case you get sick. That's an insurance policy. Assurance has more to do with certainty. You really don't have an insurance policy, life insurance policy. It's really a life assurance policy. It's insurance if it's a certain time, and it's called a term limit. But it's really assurance because you are sooner or later going to die. Brothers and sisters, as I read Psalms 91 today we celebrate Veterans Day. Psalms 91 is called the Soldier's Psalm. And more soldiers have quoted this Psalms than probably have quoted the 23rd Psalms. This is the Soldier's Psalm. Said to have been written by Moses in lieu of Joshua and Caleb as they come back with a good report. 2 out of 12 sent over into the land of Canaan to spy out the land. Only Joshua and Caleb come back saying that the Lord is able to deliver us. 10 say that the problem is too big. And Moses pens this certainly as he understands that Joshua and Caleb are going to be 2 who are going to outlive everybody that came out of the land of Egypt and embraced the land of Canaan. Everybody else died. So Joshua and Caleb would be 2 in verse 7 and 8 who will see thousands die, but they will live. It's believed to be penned by Moses. Your Sunday school teacher will tell you that one of the reasons they believe it's penned by Moses because this Psalms 91 has no known author. And when you're reading the Psalms and you don't know who the author is, you refer back to the last Psalm who you know that had an author. Psalms 90 is written by Moses. And since this is Psalm 91 and we don't have an author for it, it's believed that the same one who wrote Psalms 90 wrote Psalms 91. But some believe David wrote it. On the occasion, 2 Samuel chapter 24, where David takes a census over and against the suggestion of his leader Joab, who said to him, David, we don't need to count the men because the Lord has been good to us anyway. And whenever you count people, sometimes you begin to count out God. David, don't you take that census. David takes the census and finds out that he has 800,000 men who are ready to fight from Israel, 500,000 men who are ready for battle from Judah, 13,000 men. He upsets God because he's counting men and counting out God. God causes a pestilence to come up on the land and they lose 70,000 men. We don't really know who wrote this psalm, but let me tell you, the best I could do. Y'all, I've studied, I've tried my best to make this preachable and packable and portable to you, but as best I could do is to see this as an insurance sale, where an insurance agent is trying to persuade somebody to take upon his insurance. Insurance or assurance. Either way, he's trying to sell his insurance or assurance to somebody who needs to know that there are some things that might happen. Insurance. But that there are some other things that are going to happen. And you're going to need some assurance. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Write it down. I'm going to give you enough so you can study it when you go home. Verse 9, because you have made the Lord, my God, your habitation. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Verse 1. Verse 9, because you have made the Lord your refuge, my God, your habitation. So verse 1 and verse 9 talks about the insurer or the assurer. Now notice what he says. Let me give it to you. Notice in verse 1 he's going to say, we've got two words here for dwell. We've got two references here for shelter. And we've got two references here for God. Verse 1. He that dwelleth. The word dwelleth means to sit. In the secret place. That word secret means to be in a secured place. Of the Most High, which is the word Elyon, which has to do with loftiness of God. That God is high. So that he who sits and finds security in how high God is. He says, let me give you another picture. He shall abide. Now that word abide really means to stay overnight. Are y'all here with me? Under the shadow. This shadow suggests that it is dark, but it's not, because darkness usually represents a time when you don't know what's going on. But right now it's talking about the reason that you're getting dark is not because you're out of the will of God, but because you're so close to God until the shadow that you are experiencing right now is not night, but it's nearness. It's not because I'm in the nighttime of my life that it's dark, but it's because I'm nearer to the Lord than I usually am. So the reason right now that I can't see, it's not because it's night, but it's because I'm near. Did I tell you that this psalm is so powerful that the devil himself even quotes it in the New Testament? When Jesus is having his fight with the devil in the wilderness, verse 11, verse 10 and 11, the devil quotes Psalms 91, verse 10 and 11 by saying, Lord, now when you cast yourself off of this temple, God the Father has promised to send angels to catch you so that your feet won't catch or dash against a stone. This is a powerful psalm. He said, but we are insured because we dwell in the secret place of Elyon, the Most High God. But he comes down and says that we spend the night for a short time in the shadow, which means it's not night, but it's near, in the Almighty. Now, in verse 1, he just talked about God in two ways. Number one, he just says he's lofty. But he comes back and moves from his location to his action because he says he's almighty. Y'all stay with me. He says he's high in the first part of verse 1, but the word almighty is the word Shaddai. Shaddai is one of the only times in the New Testament that God refers to himself in the feminine. At Harvard right now and a lot of Eastern Coast colleges and universities, if you refer to God because of postmodernity as a male, you automatically get an F on your paper because they say God could be a woman. Are y'all here with me? Well, when you see the word Shaddai, it could suggest because God gives Shaddai as a feminine reference to who he is. Are y'all ready? God walks up to Abraham and says, Abraham, you are about to have a son, and your wife Sarah is going to be the mother. Abraham says, Lord, how can that be? I'm old and my wife is old, suggesting that even if she could give birth to a child, her breasts are dried up so that she can't give suck to a child. God says to Abraham, I am El Shaddai. The word El Shaddai means great-breasted one. So that God is saying to Abraham, even if Sarah don't have any milk and nourishment in her breast, I'm not counting on Sarah, I'm counting on me. It's the great-breasted one, God. But you do understand that in this text, there are no bottles. There's no microwave so that you can warm up old milk that had been drawn out of the breast. So if in the Bible times you were going to get milk from a mama, there was no Bible, there was no bottle rather, no reheating up milk. So if you were going to get it, you were going to have to get it close from the breast. So then again, here's another reference to the closeness of God. I just told you it ain't night, but it's because you're near. But now here's another reference that when I sit in the presence of God and when I sit in a secured place and when I stop by in the dark moments of my life, it's not night, it's near. I get the closeness of God and I can get whatever God has for me inside my. Verse 9, since you've made, if you make, if you purchase, if you secure this insurance or assurance. Notice now he moves from Elyon to Shaddai to Yahweh. He says, if you've made the Lord. Well, now, the Lord, really, in the Old Testament, remember that it was not as much monotheistic as it was polytheistic. Poly meaning many, mono meaning one. So in the Old Testament, you have a lot of gods. You remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and them? Their names were changed to reference many gods in Babylon. Are y'all here with me? But the name Yahweh is translated Israel's God, which means there might be some other gods out there. But who is like our God? Nobody. I wish I had some help in here. See, the Old Testament looks a lot like the United States in 2020. Where we've got a lot of people worshiping different gods, but what they don't understand is that Jesus, my God, I know his name is all my trust. He will never put my soul to shame or let my hopes be lost. I don't know who your God is. So that's the insurer. That is the one who covers. But now notice verse 2. It moves from the third person in verse 1 to the second person point of view in verse 2. Because he says, I will say. Now let me tell you how I see this in my mind. You're sitting there across the table from somebody who's trying to give you the best insurance or assurance. And you ask them what I ask many times when I'm at a restaurant or many times if I'm getting ready to buy a car, Brother Garland, this is what I ask the person that's trying to sell me something. I ask the waiter when they come to my table and it's a restaurant that I'm not familiar with and I'm looking at the menu, I say to them, well, what's good to you? If you're going to buy a car, somebody trying to sell you a car, one of the things you might ask them is, what do you drive? Because now, if you're driving a Ford and you work for the Chevrolet company, I wish I had some help in here. So you're always asking people their own personal point of view. So just let's suppose that whoever is sitting there trying to be persuaded will ask the person who is trying to sell them on this insurance and this assurance, well, what insurance do you have? Verse 2, he comes back and says, well, I will say that the Lord is my refuge and my fortress. In other words, I'm not trying to sell you some insurance or some assurance that I don't believe in myself. He says the Lord is my refuge. That means that's where I run to. But he's also my fortress, which means that's who I rely on. I got to ask the members of Mount Canaan up in here today, is the Lord your refuge and your fortress? Do you have this insurance and assurance? Is the Lord the one you run to? Is he the one that you rely on? Or are you sitting in here today frustrated and mean, mad, and tight, tense, and touchy because you've been running to some other folk and relying on some other folk and they've let you down, and here you are today, you don't want to talk to nobody, you don't want to speak to anybody, you can't stand nobody because you put too much trust in people. You need a new insurance carrier. When the Lord is your refuge, that's where you can run to. When the Lord is your fortress, that's who you can rely on. But wait a minute, verse 3 says not only can I run to him and rely on him, but look at verse 3. Verse 3 says he will deliver. Which means not only can I run to him and rely on him, but God has a rescuing character about him. Deliver means he will get you out. Oh, Lord, I said I got to get past that verse because I'm about to shout all by myself even while reading it, because when I look back over my life, there was a whole lot of stuff that the Lord had to get me. Now, let me ask you something, because I might not be the only one in here who the Lord has had to get out. Won't he rescue you? Have you ever had some stuff in your life said, Lord, I ain't gonna make it. This is it. This is it. I'm caught for the last time, and they got me dead to right. But won't the Lord? Come on, let's read. I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. Verse 3. For it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper. Because there were some people that set some traps for you. But the Lord, they would have got you too. I got about 3 folk in here. I'll make 4 who can testify that there were some people that had set some traps for you. But the Lord, ooh, you didn't even know some people didn't like you. You didn't even know some people were out to get you. But the Lord. That's insurance. And then 1 or 2 of y'all have had insurance because you had to recover everything that you lost. And you lost some stuff, but you had insurance. And the Lord gave you back double. Ooh, Lord. Lord, I'm trying to hurry, but this is just, it says he will deliver you from the snare. He rescues you from traps set. But then he rescues you also from deadly pestilence. That's sudden trouble. The translation here is trouble that come upon you all at once, trying to take you out. All at once. Stuff you ain't even know was coming. Stuff meant to take you out. Do you have, well, you have some idea, and I don't want to be personal, but I just want to share it with you. I shared this with my wife and my son last night. My last 4 years, 2017, January, lost my daddy. March, lost my sister. October, lost my brother-in-law, 2017. 2018, transitioned from Monroe to Shreveport, left Monroe, moved to Shreveport. 2019, because when we moved in 2018, you know, we were in an apartment and stuff. I was trying to give my wife some encouragement when I needed some myself. I said, baby, after a while, things going to get normal. That was 2018. It's going to get normal after a while. 2019 in February, my daughter shows up. She's saying, baby, it's going to get normal after a while. 2020, pandemic. Pastor Blake passed. That's been my last 4 years. I ain't know none of this stuff was coming 2016. Now that's just my testimony, but if I pass this mic, there's some people in this room that can testify. Trouble doesn't always announce itself. Oh my goodness, we are out of time, but we are not out of message. Listen, if you want to hear this message to its entirety or view the entire service, there's some wonderful singing and praying and fellowshipping. Go to mountcanaan.com and you can click on our YouTube channel, or we're on Facebook as well. You can hear that entire message. Listen, watching it on television and watching it streaming is nothing like actually being here to experience it. So make plans to be here. Today we have an 8 o'clock service. We have an 11 o'clock service today. We have Sunday school at 9 o'clock. We want to see you in the place. God bless you. See you next time.